Hello children, welcome to yet another session of Geography Class 10, Session 3, Soil Resources. So before we begin, let us have a quick recap of what we have studied in our previous session. In our previous session, we have studied about the black soil. So the black soil was formed by the basaltic rocks, by the weathering of the basaltic lava rocks due to high temperatures and torrential rainfall. The areas where it was found was greater parts of Maharashtra, Gujarat, western Madhya Pradesh, southeastern Tamil Nadu. Crops which were grown could be grown in the black soil: cotton, sugarcane, food crops, wheat, jowar. Then characteristics of the black soil. Children, I had asked you to write notes for this particular chapter, so it becomes very easy to memorize. So in my previous session, I told you about the chemical characteristics of black soil, and to remember that we have to remember the name LIMCAP, LIMCAP. L stands for lime, I, iron, M, magnesium, C, calcium, A, alumina, P, potash. So it is rich in all these chemical elements. It is deep and fine grained and can retain moisture for a long time. So it is also called the moisture retentive soil. Apart from that, it becomes wet when sticky, and when it is dry, deep long cracks are formed. Now other names for the black soil were regur, black cotton soil, moisture retentive soil, lava soil, volcanic soil. Now how was the soil formed? Millions of years ago, that this peninsular region was covered with extensive lava sheets. Now the weathering of these lava sheets for millions of years have made this region, that has made this black soil, the formation of black soil. So apart from black soil, we had also studied about the red soil, and the formation of the red soil was due to the weathering of the ancient crystalline rock and metamorphic rock due to high temperatures followed by torrential rainfall. Characteristics of the red soil: it is red in color because of the presence of the high content of iron oxide. It is rich in potash, poor in humus and nitrogen. It is coarse grain, as such it cannot retain moisture for a long time. Now the areas where red soil is found: Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, eastern parts of Madhya Pradesh. In the northeast, it is found in Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland. Now the crops which can be grown on red soil: rice, sugarcane, cotton, pulses, ragi and tobacco. Now another soil, now we come to today's lecture, and with today's lecture we start with the laterite soil. Now children, again start making your notes that about the formation of the laterite soil formed due to the weathering of the lateritic rocks due to heavy rainfall and high temperatures. It is a soil of the typical tropical monsoon climate. It is also a result of leaching. Now what does this leaching mean? Leaching means that because of the heavy rainfall, rich nutrients in the soil gets washed down or percolated into the soil. This makes the soil very acidic in nature. I hope you will remember this, the formation of the laterite soil, and what do you understand by the term leaching, because this is often asked. Leaching is a very important process because of which laterite soil is formed. So here in this, it is saying that the laterite is a Latin word. It is called brick. These soils are formed under conditions of high temperature and heavy rainfall with alternative wet and dry periods. Formation takes place strictly under heavy rainfall, monsoon conditions, and formed due to leaching. During this process, leaching is a process in which the nutrients get percolated due to heavy rainfall, thus leaving the top soil infertile, and this is also called desilication. Now, characteristics of the laterite soil: very poor in humus and nitrogen. Note down, children. It is coarse texture, soft and friable. It is red due to the presence of iron oxide. It is a porous soil. Silica is removed by the chemical action. It is poor in lime and magnesium and deficient in nitrogen. It is coarse grained. Have you written that? Then, because of all this above reasons, this soil is not suitable for growing crops. However, some crops, like the plantation crops, like rubber, tea and coffee, can be easily grown in the laterite soil. So, a laterite soil has these characteristics. It is coarse in nature, poor in humus and nitrogen, very acidic, rich in iron oxide. It cannot hold moisture and not fit for growing crops except for certain plantation crops like rubber, tea and coffee. Now, the areas where you will find the laterite soil and the areas where we find the laterite soil, you can see in this diagram that it is found in patches all over India. It is found on the summits of the western and the eastern Ghats. Now, from here, summits we mean the hilltops. Found in patches in Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Assam, Meghalaya. Now, it is used for building construction as it hardens when it comes in contact with moisture. So, for this reason, it is used for building construction also. It is used for making bricks, or it is sometimes used mixed with cement and used for building making. Okay. Next we come to soil erosion. Now, what is soil erosion? So, when we are talking about soil erosion, we mean detachment and transportation of soil from one place to the other by various agents, and those agents are mainly wind and water. So, this way soil is getting eroded for millions of years. Now, what are the causes for the soil erosion? There are various causes for soil erosion. So, the basic causes for soil erosion are floods, deforestation, overgrazing of animals, shifting agriculture, faulty methods of farming, and all these things are the basic causes for soil erosion. Okay, so first, overgrazing. Now, overgrazing in this, what is happening is that you can see here, children. Yes. So, overgrazing, too much of overgrazing, they damage the soil structure, the animals, and they remove the soil cover also, the plant cover, which allows the soil to blow away with the wind or with the running water. Deforestation. So, in deforestation, what is happening? The reckless cutting down of the trees that again makes the soil loose, and when the wind or the rain falls, the soil is easily swayed away. It easily washes away. Now shifting cultivation. Now shifting cultivation was also called slash and burn cultivation. Now this was mostly done by the tribal people of the northeast India. Now in this shifting cultivation, what was done was that every time the tribals would come to a new pasture, they would cut down the trees and start growing crops. Now an area would yield crop for 2 or 3 years, and after that, when the fertility of the soil gets deteriorated, the crops fail. And then what the tribals used to do, they would burn the area and again shift to another pasture. So this was highly detrimental to the environment and also caused soil erosion. As such, it has been banned by the government. Now, there are various erosions caused by the running water, and by the running water, the first erosion, which is called the sheet erosion. Now, in sheet erosion, this is an example of sheet erosion, where generally it takes place when the vegetative cover of an area is removed. The rain, instead of sinking into the ground, washes the top soil down the slope. So this is called sheet erosion. Mostly occurs along any river basin, like the Ganga basin or the Indus basin. So any river basin, this type of sheet erosion can be seen. Next is the rill erosion. Now in rill erosion, what happens is during the rainy season, rainwater running on the surface in it forms thin narrow grooves. You can see in this picture, thin narrow grooves are formed because of the heavy rainfall, and such narrow finger-like grooves are called rill erosion. It mostly happens in the ravines of Chambal region. Now, the gully erosion forms when rills increase in number. Several rills may join together, becoming longer, deeper, broader, making the land unfit for agriculture. So you can see in this picture a hollow. All the rills, they have joined together, making a bigger depression, and that is called the gully erosion. And this makes cultivation, this area becomes unfit for cultivation, or bad land it is called. So this again takes place in the ravines of Chambal. Now slip erosion. During the rainy season, water percolates further down impermeable rock strata. A great mass of the overlying rock on steep land comes down and causing a landslide. So it forms a cliff-like thing. You can see the whole land slips down because of the heavy rainfall that occurs, and this is called slip erosion, mostly occurring in the hilly regions. Now there is the stream bank erosion. It may or may not be given in your book, but in some of the book it is also mentioned. Now stream erosion, you can see, for example, this is the water channel which is going, and it is eroding the edges of the banks. So this way what is happening is that the bank gets widened up and the stream bank erosion. This is called the stream bank erosion. Another picture of the stream bank erosion, where it is cutting the sides and forming meanders. So this is the stream bank erosion. Okay, now after the various types of soil erosion by running water, we come to the methods of soil conservation. Now, how do we conserve the soil? Now, firstly, we can conserve the soil by building dams. Dams which may prevent the floods. So, building dams, they conserve soil erosion. Next, reforestation and afforestation. Reforestation in areas where in the forest maybe where the trees have been felled down, in that a plantation of new trees is called reforestation. In that case, sometimes for each felled tree, 2 saplings are planted. That is reforestation. Afforestation, on the other hand, is planting trees in regions where there are badlands or there are barren lands or there has not been any forestation. So there's a difference between reforestation and afforestation. Next, prevention. Prevent overgrazing by animals, that we need to prevent so that they do not cause soil erosion. Then terrace and contour farming. So terrace farming where the hill slope is cut down into steps. So that was terrace farming. It was started in Japan first, and then now it is prevalent, very much prevalent in India in the hilly regions. Contour plowing. Now in contour plowing, in which all the sides of the hill are ploughed along with the contours. Now contour means region of the same height. So along the same height of the mountain, ploughing is done, and that is called contour ploughing. Planting of shelter belts. In this, the farmer is planting trees on the sides, mostly from where the winds they come. So when they are planting the trees, it prevents the winds to enter the farm and erode the soil. So that is planting shelter belts. Strip cropping, in which the farmer does not let even a single piece on his land go vacant, and the whole land is divided into strips, and that is called strip cropping. So just let us see the pictures. These are the dams. Now they store water, they prevent flooding. The extra water which would flood the area is stored in the dams. Afforestation and reforestation, I have already explained. Afforestation is planting new trees wherever there is barren land or wherever it's required. So more and more trees are planted, and then that is afforestation. Reforestation, mostly planting of trees is done in those areas where trees have been felled down. So for every 1 tree which is felled, 2 saplings are planted. This is terrace farming, where the slope is divided it is made into steps. So this is called terrace farming. Now contour farming, as I said, along the contours of the hills, slopes, that means same height ploughing is done, and that is called contour ploughing. Shelter belts, I told you that the farmer is planting trees on his farm, and the trees are planted in the direction of the winds, which prevents the wind from coming and harming or eroding the fields. Strip cropping, not a single area is left out. The whole of the farm is divided into strips to prevent soil erosion. Okay. Now, next we come to the effects of soil erosion. Now, if soil is not prevented, the soil erosion is not prevented, what will happen? The loss of the top layer, which is fertile, very fertile, that we lose. Then the underground water, also the lowering of the underground water. Why? The soil which was earlier absorbing the water, and if that fertile soil is no more, if it has been washed away, then the whole region, the flooding takes place. It is not being absorbed underneath, and as such the lowering of the underground water takes place. Loss of vegetation cover, naturally the land goes barren, infertile vegetation cover becomes less. Silting of the river and the canal beds, yes, as the river flows, as there is no vegetation to stop the running water, it is taking away the fertile soil with it, or the top layer of the soil, and along with the river or the flowing water, and depositing it into the river or the canal beds. Decreasing in agricultural production, yes, the soil is eroded, the soil becomes infertile, and there is a gradual decrease in the agricultural production. So these are the effects of soil erosion. Now there are various soil conservation programs by the government also. Integrated watershed management in the catchment of the flood-prone rivers. So this is what is done by the government. They have started the integrated watershed management in the catchment areas of the flood-prone rivers. So in this way they are trying to conserve the soil. Then reclamation and development of the ravine areas of Madhya Pradesh, UP and Rajasthan. So they are trying to reclaim the ravine areas which are infertile, barren, so by planting more and more trees there. So this is how they are trying to conserve the soil. Controlling shifting agriculture in the northeast states of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Meghalaya. So I said it was the shifting cultivation was against the environment, and they are trying to control, the government is trying to control by strict laws, and especially in the northeast area, that is the states of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam and Meghalaya. So with this I come to the end of this lesson. We will discuss the question answers in the next session. Till then, stay safe, stay at home. Thank you.